What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type. And in this episode, we are beginning Volume 3 of Tamino's Gaia gear. Last time, Afranchi got some massive diarrhea from trying to poop out a tracking device. Poor guy had to pilot a man-machine while dealing with his butthole. He was taken to the Z Organization ship, where he renamed them Metatron, and they head out to save Krishna. This time, Afranchi will pilot Gaia gear and go up against Ol in the Brahm Texter. He runs into Messer and he joins Metatron, and the newly labeled terrorist organization heads to the Earth sphere. So let's get into this. Afranchi Shar tunes his verniers in Gaia gear. Margaret Lane comes over and changes the propellant. She tells him that he needs to conserve oxygen and tells him to hold his breath as practice. He is amazed that humans have conquered the harsh realities of space. Margaret wonders if artificial environments are diminishing human consciousness. The conversation becomes too existential for pre-flight. Joe is going to be piloting the Zoran Soul. Margaret wishes them good luck. Kieran is leading the pack in a Dochati. Is it Dochati or Dokati? They launch. Quaselian-class ships have been deployed. A Quaselian-class is a Maha cruiser and aircraft carrier, and it is capable of atmospheric flight. The cruiser is composed of 3 blocks: a man-machine block, a combat block, and a residential block. For the past 100 years, engineers abandoned making battleships for Earth's atmosphere. But with modern-day Manowski drives, it has become a thing once again. Krishna knows that Ol is just using her as a shield at this point. He throws her into the Brahm Texter. This is specifically the Brahm Texter 0. The Brahm Texter pre-production Type 0 is a Federation mobile suit used by Maha, specifically Ol Urian. This is poorly designed but gets better over time. It functions as a Maha commander unit and a close combat fighter. It has 2 eye-field barrier generators on each forearm. Other weapons include a VSBR-style rifle, a pair of beam sabers, a shield which shoots missiles, and a hyper beam launcher. Krishna spots a colossal battleship. It is the Geijisu. The Geijisu is Maha's flagship capable of Earth re-entry. Also, the Manowski drive allows it to fly under gravity, which also doubles as an eye-field. Dargol Baijin gets on the comms and tells Ol that he wouldn't mind if they accidentally hit Hellas during the assault. He is looking for an excuse to use the Geijisu. Ol docks with the ship. They are going to use Krishna as bait and have Metatron attack the colony. He regroups with a square of gooses. Ol notes that Maha purposefully masquerades these man-machines as Fedi units. Baijin notices EFF's Vanguard waiting at Hellas. This is Miranda's first combat experience while using a spacesuit. Captain Glenn notices gooses approaching them. He halts the launch sequence for a moment. Afranchi's senses are heightened. He could sense units approaching them, specifically their emotions. He could sense agitation and the tension of the pilots. The gooses reverse course and ask Metatron to state their purpose. Glenn knows this is a tactic to stall for time. Dr. Krakauer says they were able to detect psycho waves from Gaia gear, which didn't exist when Kieran was piloting the man-machine. Glenn doesn't want Afranchi to use the Psychomo. He wants to see his raw power. Kieran launches. Deck Officer Segovia wishes Afranchi good luck. Before leaving, Segovia says, "By the way, your incredibly proper way of speaking comes off as condescending." Okay, bye. Afranchi launches in the Alpha. He follows Kieran. Afranchi tells him that they can't attack just yet. He says to not move in on an open comm. Kieran tells him not to let this leadership go to his head. A signal flare goes off on one of the Federation vessels. They begin launching units. A spacecraft. The Marian Surag moves around them. This will be the ship that intercepts the prisoner of war. Another flare goes off. They're still stalling. He says that no animal other than humans would ever consider gaining power throughout the cultivation of hatred, which is false. Someone has never seen an orca uppercut a dolphin before. Look it up. The ticking continues in Afranchi's head, but he doesn't seem to notice it anymore. Gaia gear heads back to Mother Metatron. Kieran has no idea where he is going. He heads to the bridge of the Mother. Afranchi tells Captain Glenn that they need to attack Hellas and give them what they want, but they are falling into their trap. They could hit the agricultural cores, which aren't connected to the habitation areas of the colony, so they don't have to attack people. If they wait, the Federation's forces are going to grow. They need to force them to make a move. Joe thinks this is reckless. Kieran does too, but is more apathetic about it. Ol and Dargol watch from the Geijisu as Metatron attacks. This is exactly what Maha wanted. The Marian Surag begins getting the prisoners of war, but Krishna isn't one of them. Ol saw the attack on Hellas. He launches the Brahm Texter. Ol holds Krishna in the Brahm Texter's manipulator arm. Now that they attacked, Krishna is useless to them. Krishna talks shit to Ol, but he says, "I'm a sub, and treating me like crap is just turning me on." He gives her distress beacon to use after the battle, and he just lets her drift out into space. She begins naming Hindu gods sort of as a mantra. Afranchi could sense someone approaching. Joe waits for Krishna while Afranchi and Kieran head out along with Kimru Bras, Mesra Defin, and Hyrule Hermes. Afranchi senses Ol and fires his Hyper Mega Beam Rifle. This just ultimately gave away his location. Ol responds with his own beam attack. Afranchi dodges with insane speed. He gets a hit on Afranchi. Ol looks to see if he got the kill, but he can feel multiple presences around him. He fires at nothing. Ol senses something approaching from the sun, which blinds his field of vision. He is hit and loses a piece of armor. Gaia Gear collides with the Brahm Texter. He wants to know what happened to Krishna. Afranchi realizes this is Ol. The two swing their beam sabers at one another. They then rush in and attack. The Gaia Gear's cockpit was almost penetrated, taking out Afranchi. The Brahm Texter is heavily damaged as well, and Ol makes his retreat. He could sense Krishna when he activates the distress beacon. Afranchi goes to save her. Afranchi returns to Mother Metatron. The people cheered upon his return. Seeing that they were willing to save just one person brought morale to an all-time high. Miranda thanks Afranchi for saving Krishna. She heads to the medbay. This is going to complicate their situation, however. Admiral Parrish announces to all of Metatron that they were successful, but they might become traitors to the Federation. They won't allow the Federation to kick everyone off planet. Their next destination is 31 Cubed. Kieran believes that they need a benevolent dictatorship to guide them, but Afranchi knows that dictatorships haven't lasted longer than 500 years. That's what makes Afranchi so exciting to everyone a part of Metatron. The political prisoners are being held in a conference room. There were about 25 people. There are a few that don't fit the profile of political prisoners. Out of the bunch, one man recognizes Afranchi. It happens to be Messer Met, the gang leader that Afranchi ran into earlier. They were involved in petty theft, but Maha treated them like anti-Federation terrorists. He says that Maha is even willing to bomb the people of Hellas. They are punks that just try to make Maha's life worse. Afranchi still sees them as thugs, but one of the thugs say that they were protecting their own, pointing to a girl named Ray. He is insinuating that Maha sexually assaults women. He says that they are freedom fighters, so they can join Metatron. He leaves the prisoners. Afranchi hangs out with Krishna in his room while they eat. She believes that Maha's goal is for the white man to reclaim Earth. He wonders if Ol feels the same way and has racial prejudices. Krishna says, well, he does seem to be infatuated with me and my beautiful brown skin, so who knows? He finds this peculiar and teases her, saying that maybe he wants her as a slave. This annoys and embarrasses her, and she leaves. Afranchi then thinks of Everly and Miranda. Messer is using the Zoran Soul. A shadow dodges him. He fires but can't hit the shadows. Someone comes in to attack him, but that is when Gaia Gear comes in with the assist. Messer is struggling. Afranchi effortlessly takes down the enemy. They are in a debris field, making things more difficult. Messer goes in for an attack, but Afranchi beats him to the punch. After firing a barrage of missiles, Afranchi recalls the team back. He punches Messer in the gut for being reckless. It has been about a month since they joined the team. Afranchi tells him it was dumb to fly in a straight line. You got a Serpico, bro. They learn that Hellas now has undergone a draft. Messer and Ray, the woman in their group mentioned earlier, are wondering how long they are going to put up with this. They decide they are going to steal a man machine once they get close to Earth orbit. For now, they will continue practicing. Afranchi meets with Captain Glenn. They are heading towards Earth because they are chasing the Geijisu. Glenn wonders if his team can handle it. Afranchi doesn't just want to rely on military tactics and thinks they bring something to the table. They don't know why the Geijisu is heading to Earth, but they will start re-entry in 3 hours. The Admiral isn't allowing Miranda to go on the mission. This is because her father is someone important within the Federation. She says that the white man should be fighting with Maha. Afranchi never considered himself a white man, as he always thought of himself as an island boy. He kisses Miranda on the cheek. They seem to be hooking up over the past month, but Miranda decides to end it, as she doesn't want to be his mistress nor his mommy. But Afranchi is the reincarnation of a man looking for a mommy. Afranchi heads over to the deck on the Air Force One. The Air Force is an atmospheric re-entry craft. Besides Gaia Gear, most manned machines weren't capable of re-entry on their own. This can also fly in Earth's atmosphere. Kieran thinks Messer and his team aren't stable. They aren't getting along with the crew and are struggling to integrate. Afranchi can tell that they are trying to cut and run soon, so he is going to put them to the test. Either they are going to play good pawns and be a sacrifice for the rest of Metatron, or they will persevere and become great pilots. Kieran says Afranchi's calculations are frightening. Afranchi says, you have no idea. And that will do it for this episode. It is kind of weird seeing Afranchi take on a leadership role without seeing the growth in between the 1 year gap. Though Tomino writes of Franchi as someone constantly learning. I guess I'm just not seeing that so far. He's like Hiroyui, he's just better than you and you gotta deal with it. Next time, the drop operation begins, and we learn more about the organization of Metatron. We will see the Air Force 2, and Maha begins establishing a new Maha Republic on Earth. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember to not go chasing mommy lovers. Peace.